Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Group with Jineea here on Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today on the group. So how are you feeling today? How are you feeling this Sunday? We've got our new day and America is sitting right under our feet. The political blocks we thought were permanent are cracking. New coalitions are forming, and the black vote, that's us people, once taken for granted, is suddenly the most unpredictable force in American politics. Today on the group, we are asking the real question: is America entering a new political reality? And if so, where does Black America fit in this app? Okay, the old political order is dialing. What do you think, people? Are you with me here? The traditional Democratic coalition is fractured. We know that, right? Younger voters don't vote like their parents, okay? Immigrant communities shifting political alliances, and Black voters are becoming more independent, issues focused, net party loyal. So the G-check moment is what happens when both sides stop being able to predict us. This is your On the Group G-check of the day. Now, use your personal perspective, okay? So the Trump administration is re-engaging Black leaders, okay? House Lynn Patton is over Black engagement, new message with a new message strategy. What Black America actually wants is jobs, safety, ownership, and entrepreneurship. What either party is addressing is real economic notability. Are we looking for persuasion or exploitation? What is the difference, good people? How are you feeling out here with everything that's going on? What are you, a lot of people that say that they are not Black, that they're not a Democrat or not a Republican. A lot of people are saying that they're independent, right? And I think that that doesn't cut it either when we say that we are independent as a group, because independent, this is all about money. Excuse my hair. This is all about money out here, okay? So if the Democratic community is not putting money forward, then the candidate can't go forward. And so that also goes for the Republican community. I'm trying to make sure that we're all set. That also goes for Republican community. So if the Republican community is not doing outreach to Black folks, then who is? So the Democrats have manipulated us. The Republicans may not understand us or may not know how to use us in their forum yet. Now we say that we're independent. Most people that don't want to say that they're Republican but know that they can't do the Democratic thing say they're independent. But the reason why there's no space, I think that we're correct and we're independent in thought. But the reason why there's no space to go along with that is because there's no money coming out of the independent party. And this political thing is definitely an independent source as well. So there's chaos inside the Democratic Party. Okay, so let's talk about Mamdani just calling Adams a fascist. Now, I don't know what Eric Adams is up to. I don't know who sent him out, but he started making all these last minute orders, right? About all these last minute orders about making sure that they can boycott Israel in New York. So he put a whole bunch of pen to paper, and Adams said, no, we are not doing that. So we know that there's 179 staffers were asked to resign, right? So what were they asked to resign over? Just because Mamdani had new people. We know his transitional team is happening. It's very ethnic. I think it's very new, right? We'll see where he goes with this. But I actually think that Mamdani is going to bring people in and say, oh, see, you do like a socialism type of setup. You are into socialism. If you weren't, you wouldn't like this and you wouldn't like that, right? So we have to decide what is really happening in the Mamdani space. I don't know why I'm missing my on the group here. So we have to really figure out what is happening in that space with Mamdani, okay? So the national Dems fractured from the local Dems, right? So in this case, socialism, we have socialism happening and we're acting like it's not happening, right? And so what I think what's going to happen is Mamdani is going to bring all these people into the fold. And he's got people thinking that this is regular Democratic stuff. But then they're going to turn around and say, oops, this was socialism the whole time. And so that's how I think that he's really going to grab a hold of everything that's going on. Urban voters losing trust in the party leadership. And see, that's what's happening to the Black community, okay? So the Black community is starting to say, wait a minute, this does not really make any sense from the perspective that I'm coming from, right? This is not really helping me. How are you helping us? What are you doing in this space, right? And so that's where we are, okay? So Black voters are becoming free agents, okay? Now, when we say free agents, that means it's anybody's game. That means that we're still up for the Democratic Party. That means that we're potential with the Republican Party, and the independent party comes out to be the safe place to go. But there's no independent going to engage you because, again, the independent party doesn't make enough money. The Democratic and the Republican parties, they'll push far more than $1 billion. And if you haven't noticed, okay, the politically, you need money to run. Okay, so Black men are trending more conservative, and I think that this may just be a part of the Trump reaction to things, that Black men are engaged and they like to be more conservative because they like the more manly, I'm not doing this. Trump telling everybody about themselves and everything like that. Black women reconsidering political loyalty. Now, this is big because Black women have been the loyal grain to the Democratic Party. Now, if they're reconsidering their loyalty, then the Democratic Party has to reconsider their messaging. You know what I'm saying? Because now what happens, right? So what are we talking about when we're saying this? So the rise of the independent media. You got Charlemagne the God, you got Candace Owens, and you got a bunch of influencers saying a lot. Okay, I feel like Charlemagne, I'm more proud of him now than I have been in the past, and that is because he's becoming more real in our eyes. I think before that he went along with the establishment much of the time, but now he's going more in a direction that I think is good for everybody, and that direction is, hey, this is right, this is wrong. Now, Stephen A is jumping out, right? And he's talking about different stuff. But I think that we need to find out what's good for us, because these influencers and these people who are getting paid to speak, right? We don't know who's paying them, right? So we got to figure out where we lie. So there's political identity shifting from party to personal interest. And this is what we need to focus on, is our personal interest. Who's in our best interest, right? Typically, and over the years, we've said that the Democrats had our best interest at heart. But I think that it wasn't purposeful, that they actually said, hey, look, we forgot about you a little bit. We manipulated you a little bit. And the reason why they manipulate the black and brown vote is because we don't pay attention most of the time. Now, what's happening is we're paying attention more. Okay? So more of the time we're paying a lot of attention to what's going on. And as we're paying attention, we're getting real and we're getting the information that we need. And we're like, hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some pimping in it. So, what about what the new political reality actually looks like? Your urban reset framework is perfect, okay? So, multiracial, multicultural coalitions, okay? This is new political reality. Economics becoming the top issue. Serious thing. Border, crime, cost of living are reshaping politics, because I think that when we see ICE outside, I think that we have to all take a look and say, well, where do we stand when it comes to ICE, right? You know, how do you feel about ICE coming into your neighborhood and coming to get the hardworking Hispanic Americans out and back to their countries? Now, I feel two ways. I feel like these people may be the hardest working people in America, but they're doing it because they want the citizenship. Or is it just natural for them to work hard? I think it's a little bit of both. And I think that we have to consider where we lie. Let me move back a little bit. I'm trying to get out my own way. And I think that we have to consider where we lie with stuff. Okay, if I move back a little bit, I look a little better. How's that look, people? So now, economics becoming the top issue. Now, economics should be our top issue. Do you agree? I agree that economics should actually be our top issue. Now, what happens and how are we going to move that? How are we going to move that needle in favor of us? Okay. Young Black America is starting to demand ownership, opportunity, respect, real representation, and leaders who deliver and not just talk. Now, that is the young Black America, and we love to see it, right? This is what we've been asking for, thank God, for the people that came before us that led us down this route. So bring in your citizenship, okay? So I am a citizen of the United States of America. I'm also a citizen of hip hop, meaning that I love and I act, dress like a person, a citizen in the United States that is part of the hip hop, community / culture, right? So Black America is no longer an accessory. We are the undecided center of gravity. And whoever understands our needs, respects our power, and invests in our future, we will define the next era of American politics, okay? So this is so true in so many ways, okay? This is serious in so many ways, because what does citizenship mean to us in America? Okay, what part are we going to play when we talk citizenship? What part are we going to play? That is the very important, necessary situation that we need to be discussing today, is what part are we going to play in this American society? I, as a citizen, it's a sovereign power, the United States. I am a citizen of America. And so that means that when I go outside of this country, I am recognized as an American citizen, that my culture is American. My passport only leads to America. So some people can get their dual citizenship in other countries. My passport leads and comes from America. Now, I can probably move around the best from here, but now will America respect me like I'm asking and I'm needing. And what I'm telling you is based on how we vote. But we have to start voting smart. We can't always vote emotional. And that's where we got to lie. So we're going to go to a break, and we're going to come right back on Millennium News TV with your host, Jineea, on the group Second Phase of the New American. We'll be right back. And we are back. I'm your host, Jineea Butler, and this is today's On the Group, good people. So where have you been? Have you watched the P. Diddy series on Netflix yet? Have you got a load of that? Because that is what is trending right now, is P. Diddy and the gang on Netflix. And so 50 Cent, if you haven't heard, 50 Cent executive produced the Reckoning. It's called The Reckoning. It's on Netflix. It's showing on Netflix right now. So he executive produced the Reckoning. And so I got to New York. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I got to New York in 1993 on a basketball scholarship to Long Island University, Brooklyn. So at the time, I think P. Diddy had just left Uptown Records with Andre Harrell. He had done Mary J. Blige. He had done Jodeci. He had done Father MC. He had done many acts coming out of Mount Vernon. So he was fired from Uptown Records, and he was forced to make his own record label, and that happened to be a Bad Boy Records. Okay, so now enter me into New York, 1993, as a young hip-hop enthusiast, star basketball player, and Puffy. And I saw Biggie Smalls in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, I guess it was 93. I got here, it was probably 93. Between 93 and 94, he had did this Source interview on Franklin Ave and in Brooklyn, Franklin, and I believe it was Fulton. Okay, and so we were out there. My friend McKinney Black, she's with the New York Knicks organization right now. Her son played for Kentucky. Dakari Johnson, he's over in China right now playing. And so we saw Biggie Smalls. She took us back there, and Biggie Smalls was doing his Source interview. So while he was doing the interview, we were kind of like on the outside snickering, like, there goes that guy, Biggie Smalls. He's being signed by Bad Boy and everything like that. So by the time I got out of college, that young gentleman, Biggie Smalls, was dead. And little did I know that I was actually a part of all this. So now when I see the Biggie Tupac saga, which I call the Biggie Tupac bait and switch, now when I see that, right, I get the chills a little, because I was really there and I was a part of it. And I say that I was a part of it because hip hop was a part of all of us at the time. This is 93. And so the 90s was the time in hip hop where hip hop solidified itself as strong, solidified itself as, the next phase to everything that was going on. And we were there, right? So you had Black Moon. Brooklyn was booming at the time, okay? Everybody was coming out of Brooklyn. You had Black Moon. You had Smith and Wesson. And Brooklyn was the time of it. And I was a star basketball player in the midst, okay? So this happened so fast. And I think Puffy's rise got, and so now for you, Puffy, to be the one to come out of all of this, right? There's only a few people alive. I take my hands off the Puffy because everybody's dead. Okay, so they say leave no witnesses. Puff Daddy left no witnesses. Okay, so there's nobody to validate the story of whether Puffy actually sent money for Tupac to die, that he was mad that Biggie Smalls was leaving his record label. And this is all stuff that we heard back in the day, okay? So this stuff was happening. This stuff was ever apparent, right? But we don't know the ends of it. So Puffy is in a place where only he knows the truth. Now, to me, Puffy might be allegedly a serial killer. Okay. Now, if all the things that we're saying about Puffy are true, then we have to now take a look at ourselves, because we've seen so many tragedies and so many people die alongside of Puffy's endeavors. You know, his first endeavor, City College, I believe 7 or 8 people got trampled at a celebrity basketball game that he put together. So that was like the first piece of his mayhem. And then he had the nightclub shooting with Shine and J-Lo. Remember, J-Lo was his woman. And I'm sure at the time we knew that people wanted J-Lo away from him. So he has a club shooting. She got away from him then, okay? She had no problem. They let her out of jail because they knew that she had nothing to do with it. So you got J-Lo. You got he punched his he took a kettlebell and hit his son's football coach out at UCLA because they didn't want to play him. So we see this life of violence from Puffy. We see the instances that he had with the late Kim Porter, who supposedly died of pneumonia. The mom of 3 of his children, okay, died at 48, I believe a few years ago. You know, so we have to ask, is this a madman? And so a lot of people are mad at 50 Cent because he went along and did this documentary. But so is 50 Cent wrong for doing the documentary? Now, he made about 50 million. The word on the street is that 50 Cent got about 50 million out of this Netflix documentary. But let me frame that for you, okay? So if 50 Cent, he did 50 million on the documentary, okay? And that means that Jesus, what happened, so 50 Cent alleges that Puffy came to him and they were chilling one day, and Puffy told him as another man, let me take you shopping. And so 50 Cent, that's kind of weird. That's kind of gay. He didn't like it. So he told him no. So then years later, it comes to find out that Puffy is messing with 50 Cent's the mother of his child, his youngest child. So 50 Cent kind of took that personal. And the mother of his youngest child was in the court case, and she was allegedly getting paid by Puffy to be his woman. Now, 50 Cent, how we know what type of person that he is, he was not having that, okay? So 50 Cent said, you're going to do this to the mother of my child. I can't just come out and blast you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fight you with the pen. And 50 got him with this one, okay? So now, allegedly, Puffy has sent flowers to the last place that 50 Cent, the last place that 50 Cent has done, the last place that 50 Cent did his show, and that was in Miami. So allegedly, we really don't know. I mean, how could Puffy send him flowers out of the jail? I mean, his sons, I think his sons are probably mad because, you know, their father, who they love very much. And I think that even though that he was doing all this stuff, I do think that he has been a good father to these young sons, other than showing them how to treat women. So I don't know if you could say that that's good or not, but I believe that for the most part that he turned these young boys into men. Okay, I'm going to say that. Now, 50 Cent, again, he's banking off with 50 million. So I guess that is enough for him to say that you asked me if I wanted to go shopping with you. No. You asked my girl if she wanted to go shopping with you. She said yes. Okay. And then now I'm going to take this 50 million and charge you for what you did instead of hurting you. Now, Diddy sends flowers. I hope nothing comes of this. But what we really need to look at is, if whether Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, it's alleged that Puffy paid $1 million to have Tupac executed. So allegedly there was only Tupac and Suge Knight. So allegedly there was only $500,000 that have been transacted, but we don't have any paperwork or anything of that. So the guy that it was supposed to be transacted to, guess where he is? He's dead, right? So Von Zip, who supposedly was supposed to give Keefe D, who is in jail awaiting trial on this Tupac murder, is dead as well. So he had cancer and he died of cancer years back. So we have no way of really knowing, or no way of going in to see how this money was administered, because money is not like it was, back in the day, the way that, it's being passed around. Like today, you can't give somebody $500,000 and we don't know how you gave it to them. Now, in the past, I'm not sure if you could get away with it, but I'm assuming that there was a little loopholes that you could get away with when you're pulling out money from different locations without, alarms going off. I'm sure the laws have changed since then. But so I don't think that we're going to be able to prove whether or not Puffy sent out the hit for Tupac. I don't think that we're able to prove that Biggie Smalls also was in Puffy's limelight because he was going to leave. Now, I do shout out Gene Deal. I wish that he was in the film because he is right. Gene Deal started most of this conversation, and he was the one that stepped out, and he said that he was doing this on behalf of excuse me, on behalf of Miss Violetta Wallace, who had passed away earlier this year. But she got to see that Puffy was being arrested and was being locked up. Okay, so what do you think? Did you get a chance to watch this Netflix? Watch it, and then let's talk about it a little bit more, because there was so much in it. And I call it factual. Shout out to Kurt Burrows. I talked to him years ago, probably 2010, 2011. And I'm glad that this part of the story has gotten out, where the part that he played in Bad Boys, and he is now vindicated. Because I think the worst thing about the music industry is that they do for people that don't play along. And so for so long, I just think that right now the music industry is very quiet. People are doing great things within the music industry, and I want those things to continue, right? But how do they continue if this monster ends up getting out of jail? So we've got to ask ourselves, is the industry better off with or without Puffy? We've got to ask ourselves that question. I feel like, there's the energy is crazy. Now, what I don't like about what's going on now, Puffy, for the longest time, and they said it in the doc, that he didn't do drugs for a very long time. Okay, but he started taking pain medications when he or Kim allegedly slashed his wrist, and he needed pain medications, and he got addicted. And I think that's when we started seeing another form of a villainous P. Diddy. So, but again, there's so many people that have died. There's Biggie, Tupac, Andre Harrell, Kim Porter, his bodyguard Wolf, Craig Mack, Black Rob, everybody that was a part of the universe the bad boy universe is dead, except the locks, 112, and I believe French Montana. So go check that out. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about more on the group. So it's on the group here on New American Perspective on Millennium News 24. See you in a minute.
Welcome to Millennium News 24, your trusted source for accurate, unbiased news. We're here to bring you the stories that matter most from America and around the world with integrity and a commitment to truth. In today's world, where misinformation can easily spread, having access to reliable news is more important than ever. At Millennium News 24, we aim to cut through the noise by delivering clear, fact-based reporting. Whether you're following major events or looking for in-depth analysis, we are here to serve you with transparency and respect for all communities regardless of color, wealth, or religion. This beautiful America was built by the resilience of its people, immigrants, entrepreneurs, doctors, and everyday individuals working together to create something great. It's this spirit that inspires us to provide you with news that's inclusive, honest, and relevant. We believe that informed citizens are the foundation of a strong society, and we strive to give you the knowledge you need to make a difference. From breaking news to insightful features, we bring you comprehensive coverage on politics, economics, health, culture, and much more. We believe that everyone deserves access to the truth, and we are proud to be a part of a global network that connects people through information. Stay informed by following us on your devices, including iOS, Android, Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, and Smart TVS. And for global access, we're also available on Horizon Satellite. Visit us at www.millenniumtv24.com or www.millenniumnews24.com to stay updated at Millennium News 24. Our mission is to promote unity, understanding, and progress in a rapidly changing world. Join us as we work to inspire positive action through the power of truth. Thank you for watching. Follow us, subscribe, and stay informed.
And we are back here on Millennium News 24. I'm your host, Jineea Butler. And sorry, get my lighting going here. I'm your host, Jineea Butler, here on Millennium News 24. And welcome back. And we're here on a Sunday, breaking you in on the group. Now, on the group is our newest, latest show to talk about what our community needs, what's happening in our community, and not so much our political aspects. We're always going to stay political, but if we're going to be political, we also have to focus on what we're doing internally, what we're doing with ourselves, and things of that nature. So let me take a look at where we're going right here. And hip hop raised us. And so we were just talking about P. Diddy. So I want to say that hip hop raised us, and it raised me. It spoke for us, right? And it has fought for us. And this is why we get so tied up in everything that's going on. But somewhere along the line, the message shifted, right? And the music that once told the truth, right, started selling our trauma. Okay, so it's telling our truth, and then they realize that our trauma is worth big money, right? So today we ask, has hip hop lost its moral compass, or is it just reflecting on a lost generation? And so do you get that? If one point that it told our truth, but now what is it reflecting on? Is it reflecting on our generation? Is it reflecting on our lost generation? What is happening? And so hip hop as a social movement in the 70s and 90s, 70s through the 90s. Now that was when it was real, right? So hip hop started August 12th, 1973 in the Bronx. Okay, that's the story that we're going with. Okay, so at that point, you know, this is a collective of people and folks from different walks of life. You have Jamaicans, you have foundational Black Americans, you have Hispanics, everybody coming together with their sound and telling their truth, if you will. Okay, so we use that time and we evolve into the 90s into where we now start making money. They say the first generation of hip hop didn't really make that much money, right? Fast forward to the 1990s, now we start making money. And so those true folks, they got, just like in basketball in the NBA, those true blue folks that started it don't get the same amount of money that these new ones get. And the new ones don't necessarily know the history of the old ones, correct? So from empowerment to exploitation is where we've gone. Now, you can exploit a young kid. Now, hip hop is 52 years old this year. Okay, so you can exploit a young kid. Okay, but can you exploit a 50, 60-year-old person who has been along with hip hop for the ride? No, you cannot. Okay, so I believe that we need to shift how we're moving. Okay, shift where we're coming from. We're coming from the perspective of 70s, 90s. These were the kids. Now we should be able to train and teach the kids what to do and what not to do. Now, what happens is you take the money, you take the power out of the now smart people's hands. You take money out of their hands, okay? And then what you do is you give it back to the youth. And then so you have the youth running around and they don't want to speak to anybody that is older than them, that don't have as much money as them. So now we have our divide and conquer moment. Okay, so there was a corporate takeover of our culture. Can we agree of that? Okay, now the good part is I think that corporate takeover is done with. Okay, because now I think the corporate got everything that they were going to get out of the hip hop community, which shouldn't have. I think that they, like I said, they got everything that they were going to get out of our community. And then they said, okay, we're done with this. We've gone too far. You know, there's a lot of people that died by the hands of guns in this industry. So corporate behavior doesn't want that. They do not want people running up to their jobs and shooting people because they've got a hip hop beef. Okay, we're not with that. Okay, this is not where we're going. So next, the violence, hypersexuality, drugs, and dominating themes added to that. And so is hip hop the cause or the mirror? That's the G check. Is it a cause or the mirror? Is hip hop mirroring what is going on out in the great world, right? Or is it the cause of everything that we're talking about? And that's where we have to figure out, is it the cause or is it mirroring? I think it's a little bit of both. And the reason why I say it's a little bit of both is because, you know, the young kids think that they're doing what's right. The young kids think that they're on point where they're at. And they may be making big money, going viral on TikTok, getting these streams and figuring this piece out, right? But they weren't like us who got schooled from a KRS-One. You must learn. KRS-One, okay? Well, they didn't get all of that. Now we got Little Uzi Vert, Young Thug, the other ones, there's a whole bunch of ones that are out here that I don't know what the hell they're saying. Many artists come from trauma. This is a 100% fact. labels actually reward the dysfunction. And this is where it starts to go left, right? Because why are the labels rewarding dysfunction? Again, because they can control it. Again, because then they don't have to worry about, being moral like the originators of the culture who now understand how to use this for the power and for the good of our people. Remember, there was a corporate takeover. So the clout, the economy pressures on young rappers. Now that's another thing, okay? Artists dying young and their mental crisis. Another thing, we don't need to see these artists dying young. We don't need to see that. So I just moved myself up a little bit. I'm a little better there. Okay, so the money machine. Labels profit from chaos. We know this to be a fact. Okay, so what does that mean to us? How come you can't go into the Jewish community? Tell me this. How come you can't go into the Jewish community and tell everybody that Jewish people are no good? How come you can't do that? That's because their people will not allow it. Their people, the gatekeepers of their culture will come running at you, okay, in that community. So why is it that in our community we allow it to go? And let me tell you why. It's because labels profit chaos. And so one of our problems is that we've been down and out and broke for so long. Okay, we've been broke for so long that we just take whatever is given to us. So the algorithms also push the negativity. Okay, so that's also a big problem, that the algorithms are pushing negativity. But again, we're not pushing back against any of this. Let some negativity on the algorithm go past the Jewish. And I think that we need to look at how the Jewish protect themselves in the light of everything that they go through. They're going to fight hard. We're allowing our kids to hear poisonous lyrics, hear, violence in our music, and then wonder why, we're getting the most people shot and killed every weekend, right? So positive artists are underfunded. Now, if you're a positive artist, you're not getting no money. Let me tell you right now, just like that. If you are a positive artist, you are not getting any money. And if you are, shout me out, put it in the comments, and I want you on the show. Okay? Now, the culture shaped by profit, not by purpose. Okay? So again, if we're looking at the Jewish community and we're saying to the Jewish community, wow, how do you protect yourselves in such a way where nobody could say anything horrible against you? How do we do that? We have to focus, okay? So the rise of influencers over rappers. Now, this is a big thing. And I think this really changes the trajectory of exactly what we're talking about, because for so long, the rappers had the reins. And I've always said, no disrespect to any rapper, but how are we looking at our community and saying that this person who may have dropped out of high school now has the way and can lead the way for us on the group? That's what I'm saying. Everybody come in, everybody get on the group, because this makes no sense. This is the oxymoron of our community. But now what's happening is the influencers have topped the rappers. Now we're getting influencers. We don't even know where they came from. You've got Kai Cenat, huge streamer. He's like 22, 23, and he's dictating culture. Country Wayne, comedian who got on the internet dictating culture. And these people are regular, everyday Joes. Charleston White, another one who has got on and now is acting like he's big bad. I can't stand him, to tell the truth. But he is making money using these algorithms and understanding what is going on. And they have topped these rappers. Now, the rappers, don't get me wrong, they feel some type of way. Excuse me. They feel some type of way about what's going on, but they can't stop it because it's ever apparent, okay? So they can't stop. So you got these new voices shaping the culture faster than the artists, and that's the deep part. And so hip-hop influence is fragmented, okay? The hip-hop influence is now fragmented. Now, what is the future of hip-hop? What are we looking at? Can hip-hop course correct? Can we change our direction, and can we go in the right way? Yes, I do. I think we can. But I think what is happening here is we've got this young versus old dynamic going on, right? So you got the young people, and of course, we want the young, we want the creativity, and we want everything. And then you have the older folks who are saying that this is what hip-hop is grounded on, and this is what hip-hop built on. So somewhere in between is us. Okay, and we've got to figure out what to do. And this is for those people who are saying right now, tuning in and saying, I don't have anything to do with hip hop. Hip hop is pop culture. So one way or another, you are influenced by hip hop. And I've been saying this for years. 50 years, hip hop has been influencing culture. Now more than ever, and maybe even in your Volvo commercial. Even at your McDonald's commercial, we see the NFL. We hear rap lyrics during the halftime shows. Everything hip hop is involved in. And we talked from the beginning of the show about economics. But let's go to a break right quick, and we'll come back and we'll talk more in our last segment about where we're going with this here on Millennium News 24. Okay, so hip hop isn't lost. It's searching, and the next era will be defined by the people brave enough to tell the truth about where we really are. Now, that is a serious thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to end right now, and we're going to come back on Wednesday at 1:00, our normal time. And let me just leave this to you. We are tired. The mental exhaustion crisis in Black America. Black America is exhausted. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, we're carrying trauma, responsibility, pressure, and pain that we don't even talk about anymore. Just normalize it. So today we're asking, why are you so tired? And what does healing actually look like for the people who don't get rest? And so that may be you, that may not be you. But what I want to say is today on the group, it was great to be with you. Love you forever. I'll see you Wednesday at 1 here on Millennium News 24. And we're turning it up. We're taking it up. And we're on the group. And I'll see you on Wednesday.